Yeah, I got, again, taken to see this man called Bernie Pryor. I had no idea about him. I wasn't planning to go and see him. But Bernard took me to see him. Well, Bernard was going, I said, oh, I'll come too. And I just got it, what he was saying. Again, same thing, it's an intuitive thing. And one of the things Bernie Pryor was saying, that we are a bridge between the invisible and the visible, and that we are the bridge. And somehow I really got that, and had a most amazing 24 hours following it. And I became the witness. I was just watching it all. And everything was flowing. Yeah.
This was to do with the cosmoform. Can you explain that, because some people may not understand that.
After spending an evening satsang with Bernie Pryor, something woke up in me. Presumably I just caught it from him. And I was like a witness. I didn't have any axe to grind at all. And I was just watching things. I went to a cafe, I was just watching and listening to the conversations, and we went to see some monks at Sudley Castle, and again, I was just watching it, and then suddenly the heavens opened, and it poured with rain, and I'm just thinking, oh, it's raining. And somebody runs up with a huge umbrella. And there I was sitting in a really thin summer frock, and I just was not bothered. It was like I was in a completely different space. At the end of the day, I decided I wanted to buy a rose bush, and I lost touch with it. I kind of came in. When I came in, and I lost it. But that set me on the road of following Bernie Pryor. And I was planning to help Kimry on the next retreat, which clashed with the Bernie Pryor retreat. So I said, well, I've said I'm going to Kimry, I'm going to Kimry. Not enough people went to the retreat. She cancelled it. So I thought, oh, I am meant to go to Bernie Pryor. So, but I do follow those sorts of things. It's one of my things. I don't have enough self-confidence or enough contact maybe with my intuition, so I do tend to look for some kind of guidance or unfolding, some kind of a sign. I definitely go for that. And otherwise I just try to stick to what I've said I'll do. So what happened with Bernie Pryor eventually was, again, I was on a retreat with Bernie Pryor now in Italy, and talking about taking Cosmoform to South Africa.
Now we better explain that for some people who don't know what. I know it's hard to explain. You have to sort of experience it to know what it is.
All right, let's go back a bit. So Bernie Pryor has I don't know what language he used. Designed, we'll say maybe. He's the originator of something called Cosmoform, which actually has taken over 20 years to evolve, and is actually dependent on a larger movement, series of movements called the Form. And it's related to helping us connect into the new energies coming in.
And you're talking about physical movement, aren't you?
Yes.
To be clear.
Yeah.
It's rather like Tai Chi. It's not Tai Chi, of course,
no,
but it's
it's
using
a
physical
specific
movements.
sort of physical movements that help us connect into the energy fields around us and to the vaster scheme of things, and help it to work through us.
It's a kind of sequence, isn't it? It's quite a precise sequence.
Oh, yes,
it's not sort of ad-lib. It's
no.
quite disciplined in a way.
There's a definite structure to it. He says that very much. It is structured. It's very much about structure. So I'm in I'm in Italy at a Bernie Pryor retreat. And this is about the time of the millennium. It would have just been after the millennium, because he brought Cosmoform in for the millennium. And they wanted to launch Cosmoform to help everybody connect into what we need to connect into. And they decided to do it, who knows why Spirit worked this way, in South Africa. And there's a... So, I know for some reason I thought, oh, I might like to do that, but I do my things. Am I meant to do it? I want the guidance. And I just had an amazing, very clear dream.
An actual
a dream, yes. I had a real dream then. And then other things that spoke to me. So although I was scared, I went. And I had this incredible, wonderful time. Just an amazing time.
Can you just...
Well, yes.
Give us a sense of what happened.
Oh dear.
Maybe some examples. Or...
Well, of course, I'm in a completely different culture. Although I had been to India, it's again a different culture. And I'm with the people in a different way. Well, every day, different drivers would come and pick us up and take us somewhere to do this Cosmoform, in different schools, in different... We went to quite a lot of different schools. We went to shelters, where those people haven't got homes, the shelters. Again, quite a few of those. We went to schools where there were little tiny children, and we went to schools where there were middle-sized children, and schools where there were bigger up children. We went to people where they were doing yoga. One of the culminating places we went to was right out away from Cape Town, in it's called the Wilderness. And it's out along the garden route, and it's where the forest workers are. Just so we went out there as well, and yeah, I mean, just such a different experience. I went to a place called, gosh, what was it called? You can see it, what it's called. They've got these kind of backpacker places. Yeah, they're backpacker places, like a bit like youth hostels. And we went to one of those, and it was just stunning out in the outback, as it were, and all the different creatures and plants, and yeah, it was just...
So I'm imagining you would go along to this place. You'd never been there before. Was it a few of you? What, 4 or 5 of you? Or?
Let me think. There were about generally we were in about 4s, because although there were about 12 of us there, we were in a rented villa.
Yeah.
Although there were about 12 of us there, we went out in separate groups of about 4. And
you just kind of appear one day and they'd say, well...
Oh, it was all planned.
Yes.
It was all planned, all arranged.
But they didn't know what they were going to experience.
Oh no, they didn't know what it was going to be.
And you just started
leading. Just do it. You just do it.
And so then what happened? Because obviously this is where...
Well, the idea was that they would get the Cosmoform and carry on with it. That was the ideal.
Even though, of course, they wouldn't understand your language or anything. This was
I speak English.
Oh, sorry. So you were doing it in English, and they were understanding.
Oh, they speak English.
Good. Okay.
Oh gosh, yes. And we just they speak English. Just the idea was that they would carry on doing it, and it would help their transformation.
Right.
Now, in some instances, they did, and what generally seemed to happen was they were very keen. And it would be, but I think it would be very hard for them to maintain it without us. And I felt strongly, and others of us felt strongly, that we needed to go back. You couldn't just give them this thing, go away. You needed to go back and help them and support it. I mean, I know what I'm like. I need people to keep it going with me. And that's how I also ended up going back. And there were a group who stayed on as well, and when they left was when I came in, so it was all kind of orchestrated at one level.
But you saw this transformation. I mean, you told me, we talked about this earlier this evening. You said it was like one of the best experiences of your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
one of the best experiences in my life. And why I think that is for me is it's very grounded in South Africa, very grounded. And I tend to be, I'm like the mystical floating about person, as it were. And so it was a perfect balance for me, because I was doing this mystical stuff, but in a very grounded place. And a lot of them were getting it and loving it. So, I mean, all around, you know, I was just in the right place at the right time doing what I loved, and with people who loved it. You can't have anything better than that.
And then you mentioned you went to a drug rehab.
Well, that was the major thing, yes. When I went back, this is what I'm really talking about.
Yeah.
When we went back, I went to a place called the Lighthouse, which had been part of the original programme. And they tried to keep going back to this lighthouse because the director of it was a Muslim, but in meditation he'd been told he had to open a drug rehab place, and he had 75% success rate. Because it was a small establishment with about 12, he was the father figure, he had the spiritual backing, he had the cultural backing, like the same culture as these young lads who were Muslim, and he also had the firmness, you know. He had the love and the firmness, and the no, and you know, you couldn't pull the wool over his eyes, sort of stuff. You could pull the wool over my eyes, but you couldn't pull the wool over his eyes. You know, so it's a perfect balance. And he also understood very much like we do in Unity about the power of the thought. It's the thought that's really at the crux of it all. And working, what was it, he had to have something on the wall about that? Stinking thinking.
Ah, yes.
Is your thinking stinking?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you brought Cosmoform to that
Yes,
rehab.
we went in every...
And how did the lads react?
Well, initially it would be quite tricky and they wouldn't want to join in. You'd always have, you know, someone sitting around the edge because there would be constant turnover. But once you got them doing it, they loved it. Once they got into it. And what they said was, one in particular, he gave him the spiritual connection that he'd been looking for. He could feel, because one of the things that happened to one of the guys was he'd been shot and they brought him round in the ambulance, and then my friend Callie we didn't know this, Callie gave, I'll say his name, but you won't put it on there, will you?
Use another name.
Okay, I won't say his name then. So Callie gave him Cosmoform, because you don't just do it this, you can do it over people. And he just said, the anger left me. The anger left me. And we said, oh, and then he told us a story about the shot, and he showed us a shot wound. It's like, so he said, no, when we talked about it, he said, no, the anger was that they'd sent me back. You know, because he'd gone back into heaven and he'd felt the bliss and the beauty.
Yes, gosh.
And but that was the anger that left him. No, he's a sweet soul, lovely guy, beautiful guy. And so what he found was, it was connecting him back into that.
So that sounds what a wonderful experience. And so then you came back and you, I know you want to go again at some point. How do you think all of that has affected your own personal journey, do you think? Because it's obviously been a very big thing in the last few years.
But very satisfying, expanding, grounding. I mean, it did ground me. Cosmoform does ground me. It's grounding. Yes, I guess as any new experience broadens you. I hadn't. But you just got to meet people, Steve. You just got to meet people. You know, we have these images in our heads of how people are, all those drug addicts. Well, you've never been in there and met them, have you? And it's the same with any group of people, isn't it? You know, if it's soldiers or if it's terrorists. If you haven't met them, you don't know what you're talking about. So, I mean, I also got a background, before I got into Unity, I mentioned I'd had a nervous breakdown, did I? Right, so I've been in mental hospitals quite a few times back then, and it's the same thing. They're delightful people in mental hospitals, you know. So don't think they're a load of weirdos or something, you know. They're lovely people. And it's always the concepts in our mind that paint pictures of people that's nothing like it. So I think what I loved about it was they were so accepting of me. Here am I, this white woman, you know, not Muslim either, wafting her arms about. And they just loved me, and they just loved me. And so it was just great. Yeah.